Hello and welcome to Front Row Racing once again on this Friday evening. It's time for the Front Row Racing PCF, the Project Cars Fridays League, round 10 in Brno in the Formula Bs. We could be in for another fascinating race. Well, I say fascinating race. Usually in these cars, we're going to see more wheels off than anything else, which we could see here once again. Now, we are just going to be hanging on a few minutes while we wait for our champion to see if he's coming online. Also give the drivers a chance to have a little bit of a chat. We have got a new driver in and also a returning driver, so nice to see Duofin back on the grid here. And Lee Elmo McElroy, a name that Ray is really going to struggle with this evening, I just know it. Yeah, so Lee Elmo, he's new this week. He's come in for the final round. So hopefully he'll be able to do all right and show us what he's got. Perhaps give some of the other drivers a bit of a fight for a win here. So anyway, our commentary team for this evening is obviously myself from Racing DP and from Racing RI, who has ran to the shop and back. Do you want to tell people why, Ray? Was it for beers? Was it for protection for later on?
No, it was thanks for the missus.
Oh, all right. That reminds me. Actually, it was quite funny. We should tell the supporters, the viewers, about when Front Racing GP came up to visit you in Scotland. Steve had just given up smoking and got onto the e-cigs, and his missus decided, well, I don't know if they smoke, so I'll go on the e-cigs as well. Gets up there and find out that Kirsty smokes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you smoke?
Yeah. I've given up because I didn't think you smoked.
No, I did go for beers, of course I did. I'm Scottish. Oh,
that's
I'd
true.
Shop for anything else.
You see, I'm English, I barely drink. I've got 2 beers in the fridge that have been there for nearly a month. Okay, it looks like most of the drivers are ready to go, but Ray, if you want to just quickly, we'll check through the list to see if there's any drivers we haven't got that you can send an invite to. Kev187, if you want to send an invite to him.
Give me 2 seconds. I don't find him. I think he's still offline.
That's alright, if he's offline, you can still send him an invite. So we've got Kev187, GT5 King. He's not raced the last few races though. He doesn't like losing his wheels.
He's not online.
We'll send him an invite anyway. Bartman2112.
I don't have Batman to win to.
Well, I sent him an invite a little while ago.
Reason.
So we'll be alright there. Then we'll get, I was going to say we'll get going, but I'm fairly sure we've had somebody else just drop out, because we did, I'm fairly sure we had 12.
Dropped out, and I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you, I'll go through the list then and you can tell me if we've got them. Kev, we know he's not in. Dave the Harp, he's in. Neo Tig, he's in. Grable, he's in. Mulrine.
And
Hesselden.
And
Jason.
And
Duofin.
Joe. And
okay, GT5 King. We know he's not in. Woolhouse, he's in.
And
Bartman, we know he's not in. Stringer, we know he's not in. My Bad, we know he's not in. And Richie Davey, we know he's not in. So it must have been 11 we saw then. Okay, we're ready to get going then. It's going to be 26 laps of the Brno circuit in the Formula Bs. Well, we are going to have a 15-minute qualifying session, a 5-minute warm-up, and then we're into the race on what could be either a very tricky circuit for these cars or a fantastic one. It all depends on how the guys set up their cars to do with curbs, hills, because as we saw last... James Hulkenberg. That's who we're missing.
Right, okay, I'll just send an invite then.
Yeah, send him a quick invite. So I know he has been practicing with Dave the Harp for this race, because I know James wasn't able to make the World Championship race on Wednesday. It's his work's Christmas do on the night of the last race of the season. So yeah, he's been doing a bit of practice with Dave the Harp to take part in the Formula Bs this evening. And Hulkenberg is now back in, so we are ready to go, I reckon. So we have got 10 drivers, plus myself and Ray. So we do know if we end up with less than 12 during qualifying or the warm-up that we have lost someone. So I forgot what I was talking about before we got to that. Yeah, this track, we saw that Dave the Harp rolled his car last week in Oschersleben. He was leading the race by an absolute mile, and because he was leading the race, if he'd have won the race, he still had a chance of taking the championship. But 40 seconds ahead, rolls the car, gets stuck, race over, and ends up gifting the title to Kev. And if you haven't seen the video, have a look on our YouTube channel for it, because it is brilliant. It's brilliant. Titled, I think it's PCF Dave the Harp Funny Crash, because I found it hilarious. Okay, so the Brno circuit, this is a track where the cars are going to be really nice around turn 1, turn 2, but then turn 3 and 4 could be tricky on the curbs. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 all tricky, and the final sector again could be very tricky. If the guys' cars can't handle a curb here, they're going to struggle. Now, as for who may end up sitting on pole position, I haven't got a clue. I mean, Hesselden is quick. He's quick in these cars. Greybull is also quick. We've lost someone already. Let's have a quick look on the list.
Do you know
James Hulkenberg's in. Dave the Harp is in. Neotig. We're missing Neotig. So if you want to... Have you got him on your friends list? Oh.
Is it Junior?
It's alright, he is showing as being in now. Yep, Neotig is back in with us. That's quite good. So, okay, quickly drive out the pits so we can get back in. Something for you to know here, Ray. If you do actually pop the track map up using the R2 on the screen, it will show you sector times as the, whether the drivers are up or down on their sectors. Which is quite handy to know. Better if you can do that than me, because otherwise we end up with a track map. Oh, Nick Greybull's spun it. I will pop the track map up quickly. So Greybull spun it on about turn 6 or 7. In these Formula Bs, you will see some drivers spinning the cars early on, and a simple fact of the matter is these cars are awful when the tyres are cold. You can spin it while you're going in a straight line on the cold tyres, so the drivers kind of really have to be a little bit cautious on their out laps. Oh, as Mulrine, he's going off. There we go. I was saying they've got to be cautious, because on these cold tyres the cars will just spin out on you, so you need to give it a lap or two to get the tyres up to temperature before you can really think about pushing the limits of the car or the track. Okay, I was on about who could possibly take pole position here. I think Hesselden's got half a chance, but Dave the Harp has shown previously he's got a bit of speed in these cars, and if Hulkenberg's been practicing with him, Hulkenberg could surprise a few. Now, he has been joining me on commentary on Sunday, so it's his turn now to show the drivers what to do, staying away from the curves. You can do it, James. Oh,
I'll be back.
yeah. Well, he is back now. The thing is, I'll try and put him off. Go on, James. Come on, Indy. You can do it. So, I don't know if he's going to be the first to start a flying lap or not. I think we may have lost Neotig again. We have. If you want to send him another invite, Ray. We'll see how Hulkenberg gets on. I mean, having been a commentator, James, it's now your turn to show the guys what you can do. So, come on, give them a good spin, roll it on a curb somewhere, take out some tyres. Now, I will quickly go through...
I've just seen the tyres on the side, sorry to interrupt. I've just seen the tyres. I know they're getting knocked out.
Oh, yeah. The thing is, though, in these cars, if the drivers hit those tyres in these cars, it's going to damage the wings. Oh, Kitty Litter, that's his lap over and done with. Neotig is back in with us, thankfully. Okay, who shall we watch then for a lap? We've not seen him before. Lee Elmo McElroy. We'll see how he gets on. Although it looks like we've got a little bit of possibly slidey lag going on here. Okay, I will go through the standings. Kev 187 has been confirmed as the PCF champion on 137 points. Not actually online with us at the moment. David Harp is in second place on 108 points. Neotig Jr. is on 100 points, then Grable on 87, Mull Ryan on 75, Hesselden on 69, Jason on 62, Duo Finn on 36, GT5 King on 30, Woolhouse on 27, Bartman on 16, Stringy B on 13, My Bad on 11, Richie Davey on 11, and Lee Elmo McElroy will be on 0. Now, Ray, if you want, you can call him either Lee or Elmo, but if you're going to call him Elmo, you're going to have to do the laugh as well. If you don't know what I'm on about, you'll have to Google the laughing Elmo. I'd try and do an impression myself, but impressions aren't my forte. Oh, he's drifting. He managed to get around the corners quite nicely there. Go on, you was going to say something then.
Up in Scotland, Elmo, and then there's a second name I won't mention, so I'll have to try call him Lee.
Yeah, call him Lee. Or we could call someone's hit the tyres. I don't know who it is. We could call him Rory. Sorry about that. That was an intentional
Rory,
mess up there.
The racing car.
Well, that's not. I was thinking Rory McIlroy, but I watched a QI last night where who was it? Phil Jupitus and Stephen Fry, they were on about Japanese and struggling with pronunciation with L's and R's, and Phil Jupitus says he was talking to Michael Myers, and Myers says, "Go on, give me a name and I'll say it in Japanese." He goes, "All right then, Rory Templeton." He goes, "Rory Templeton." So that's why I ended up going Rory. But obviously I don't have children, so I don't know about Rory the racing car. Okay, so Elmo is about to come around the final corner and cross the line. We'll see if he improves his lap time from a 147.6 to a 146.0. Goes second place. Hesselden at the moment is pole with a 142.4. So Duo Finn's just gone second with a 144. So a bit of time for these guys to find. Grable did go third, but he's been bumped down to fourth by James Hulkenberg, who's gone first with a 138.8, and he's got a car ahead of him that looks like he's getting a bit physical with. So Hulkenberg's showing how it can be done, although he is sliding her across the track a little bit. Dave the Harp's gone second place with a 141.1, so Hulkenberg's just sort of raised the bar into the 138s. Hesselden's back in the pits. Duo Finn on another lap. We haven't seen Duo Finn on track for a while. With him, I'm fairly sure it's Finland he's from. It's either Finland or Iceland. Apologies, Duo, for getting one of those wrong. But he's been playing hockey. He's a very avid ice hockey player, and his team plays on Friday night. So he's not been able to compete for the last few races. But obviously they are not playing this evening. Either that, or he's already played on one, or they're playing a little later on. So it's nice to see Duo back, because he did have the pace in the early races to beat Kev 187 in these cars. So we'll see if he can go and whack it on pole here. He's only got a couple of corners to go. Is there anyone you've got an eye on, Ray? Anyone improving on their lap times?
Yeah, I'm just watching Dave the Harp. He's 6 up.
So he's looking at improving his lap time then, as Duo Finn's only got 2 corners to go.
2 seconds up now.
Oh, 2 seconds, so he's 136, is it?
Well, 141, 139.
130, so 2 seconds up on his own time. Okay, let's see if Duo Finn is going to improve on his lap time. 144 down to a 143. So Dave the Harp then's down to a 141.1, but he's about to cross the line. Takes pole with a 138.6, but his teammate, his mate even, crosses the line but hasn't improved. Hesselden has seen the times that those guys have been doing, has decided to get out on track. I think he's getting ready to start a lap. Duo Finn's heading back to the pits. Jason back in the pits. Grable in the pits. Lee Elmo McElroy doing a pit stop in the pits. Woolhouse on track, having done a 146.2. Let's see, whereabouts is he on track? He's just heading up to the end of Sector 1 now. So let's see if he's up on his time. He's not. He's a long way down on his time, so I'm guessing he's on an out lap then. So we'll go and see who else we've got. Neotig is out on track. Is he on an out lap? I do not know. Whereabouts on track is he? Yes, it's an out lap. So he's got a couple of corners to go before he starts his flying lap. So we'll see how he gets on here. Hopefully he doesn't have any disconnection problems, and over the last few races he has shown that he's got speed in these cars, but the races have not quite gone his way. So he has just posted a time. I do apologise, it's a 1:42.7, so he can continue on for another lap. So we'll see if he does improve on his sectors at all as he goes around turn 1 and 2 into the kink of turn 3, heading up now into turn 4, I believe it is. So around the left-hander approaching, and then into the end of Sector 1, so we'll see if he's up or down on his time. He's up by 7/10 of a second, which he needs. He needs to be up by about a second in each sector, or a little bit of a wiggle on the exit of the corner there. Now into a downhill braking zone, into a tricky double right-hander with tyres on the apex, which Ray knows is going to get smashed somewhere.
Oh, sorry, I'm in my seat.
You had some. It's called your backside, Ray. Either that or you've been sitting on your controller. Is it on vibrate?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, it looks like we've got. I was going to say a couple of cars have spun on the exit of turn 2. You know, come out of the pits and spun, I think. But Neotig is coming up to the end of Sector 2 now. Is he up again? He is. He's a second up. I don't know if that's a second up overall or whether it's a second up in that sector. But he is now coming into the final few corners. A little bit laggy again, which is a bit of frustrating, but there we go. So 2 corners to go. If he is a second up overall, that puts him on a 1:41.7, so he could effectively move up a place or 2. But if he's up a second in that sector, he could find himself on the front row here. What time's it going to be? It's a 1:40.5, 2.2 seconds up. Third place at the moment. Oh, he has. He's spun it. What are you doing, James? You know we're going to talk about this on Sunday. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a race car, baby, like a race car. Okay, Dave the Harp is headed up to the final couple of corners. Not sure if he's on an out lap, an in lap, or whatever, but we'll see if he posts.
He'll be on a time.
He's on a timed lap. Let's see if he improves his lap time then. Can he get into the 37s? He can, a 37.4. So Dave the Harp raises the bar. He's going to want to make up for last week's antics. Now, Neotig has continued on for another lap, which means he could be gaining and going faster on this lap again. He's got a bit of a way to go to get up to Sector 2. We've got anyone else? Oh, who's that in the green car? Jason, Duofin's lost it, but there's a green car that's just absolutely smashed it somewhere. It must have been Mulrine. I heard the noise. I saw the aftermath. So Mulrine back in the pits. Duofin is sat in 5th place, coming up to the finish line now. Let's see the car ahead. Hesselden crosses the line, hasn't improved, so he's just starting a lap, I would guess. We have got another car that's just crossed the line. I didn't see who that was, but Duofin heading up to the start finish. Let's see if he can improve. He can't at the moment. Okay, who's the next one that's going to get to the start finish line? Let's see. James Hulkenberg will be. He'll be the next to get to the finish line, but I don't know if he's if this is the lap he had his crash on. I don't think it will be. He's had a 24.6 Sector 1, which isn't too bad actually. Matches Neotig, although Neotig's a touch quicker. So as Hulkenberg then works his way through Sector 2, has he completed Sector 2? He has, and he's quicker than Neotig, but he's going to need a fantastic Sector 3 to try and knock a second and a half off his lap time to beat Dave the Harp to pole position here. He is going to have enough time to get one more lap in after this as well. Basically, the drivers need to get crossing the line in the next 20 seconds to complete a lap. Hulkenberg hasn't improved on that lap, but he has got the time to get one more in. Neotig's in the pits, and Hesselden coming up to the final couple of corners. Let's see if he can improve on his time at all. Oh, dipping a wheel in the gravel possibly there, but with the slidey lag we got going on, it's difficult to know exactly where he's placing his car, so he might not have touched the kitty litter. He's forwards drifting around the penultimate corner and now the final corner, and into the pits he goes. No he doesn't, yes he does, no he doesn't, yes he does, now he's into the barrier. He's definitely in the pits now. Okay, have we got anybody else on track, Ray, other than James Hulkenberg?
Joel Finn, he's just coming round the last corner, and there's a car ahead of him, I don't know who it is.
Okay, so it's Jason ahead of him, but they can't get another lap in, so that's their session over. I think Hulkenberg may be the only one left that's going to be able to actually get this next lap completed. Is he up? Oh, he's had a 23.9 sector 1, a 47.5 sector 2.
16's up.
Oh, through the tyres!
No,
They
he
were.
never hit him.
Oh, on mine he did. They won't be back on mine. Okay, on mine he definitely wiped him out, but obviously that's just a visual. So, can Hulkenberg... No, he's off into the gravel. He's lost it. He had a chance there, I think, because he had a phenomenal sector 1, a phenomenal sector 2, and now he's spinning it on his way into the pits. But yeah, I mean, he was on course, potentially, for matching Dave the Harp there, you know. Now, Joy, Finn and Jason are still on track, but there's only 6 seconds left, so they're not going to be able to complete their laps. It's going to cut them off, and we're going to be into the 5-minute warm-up session, and there we go. Okay, so Dave the Harp then takes pole position from James Hulkenberg, Neotig, Hesselden, Joyfin, Jason, Grable, Woolhouse, Elmo, Mulrine, and then myself and Ray at the back of the field, but obviously we won't be racing. Well, an interesting session there, wouldn't you agree, Ray?
Yeah. For the winter races, James Hulkenberg's done. Hulkenberg. He's done. I was quite surprised.
Well,
I'm surprised that anybody else goes faster than me.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, James knows how to drive. He knows how to drive these cars. And if he's been practicing with Dave the Harp's had 9 races of experience that he can pass over onto his mate James Hulkenberg here. To help him along, so I'm not surprised that he's potentially got the pace to beat Dave the Harp. The question will be, if it's a fight between him and Dave for the win, is Hulkenberg going to let his teammate, well, he's not teammate, but his best mate, take the victory? I wouldn't.
Nah, it's been decided. I don't know. Who could take Dave off for a second place?
I don't think anybody can, unless Dave doesn't finish. I mean, I'll have another look at this. Well, the gap between Dave the Harp and Neotig is 8 points, and the gap between Dave the Harp and Grable is 21 points. So, if Dave doesn't finish, he could lose a position or 2. I mean, he didn't finish last week in dramatic style. Is that you sat on something again, Ray?
What I'm thinking?
Go on.
No, what I'm thinking is, has Dave brought James Hulkenberg and helped him out to get that buffer in there?
Oh, so instead of, for example, Grable or Neotig being a position ahead or behind, there's going to be that additional car in there. Interesting thinking there, Ray. It's possible. It is possible that that's what Dave's thinking. Be an interesting one.
That's what I'd be thinking. Here you come and race.
Yeah, come and help me out. I'll tell you something we will quickly discuss. We've not talked about it for most of the season, but that is how much of an off-season the Project Cars Leagues are going to have. Now, obviously, it's not we've talked about. I don't know if the drivers have talked about it. I mean, it's something that we will get confirmed, but with us sort of having next week and then we're into sort of Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, I think it'd be daft to start next week and then obviously Christmas and New Year's. But I'm wondering whether perhaps like the first Friday in January, because I think you've got Friday the 1st and then Friday the 7th or the 8th. So perhaps starting then the same day as the FRRI days might be a good idea. It'd give the drivers the opportunity of having sort of 3-4 weeks to to get practicing in the LMP2s that we'll be using for next season in the PCF. I mean, what's your thoughts on perhaps when we should restart the PCF League?
After a new year, because I won't be here.
Drunk. I'll be so drunk. I'll be speaking English. Yeah. I mean, I don't see the point in trying to start it beforehand because of where Christmas and New Year's drops in. I mean, something that I did have a think about, because obviously people have asked whether the tracks will change. Yes, they will. Now, for this 10-round season, basically, like Kev and myself picked the tracks for the PCF. We could do that again, or what we could possibly do is say, right, okay, the drivers on the standings will go through the list. Right, Kev, pick a track. Whoever's second, pick a track. Whoever's third, pick a track. Whoever's fourth, pick a track. And then the top 10 basically get to pick 10 tracks. Now, there could be some in that situation where you'd go, you know what? We're not going to race there. Like the Nordschleife, for example. I mean, I would love to watch that. I'd love to commentate it. I wouldn't mind racing in that because I love the Nordschleife. But as a racing spectacle, it wouldn't work, because what tends to happen is the longer the racetrack, the more spread out the field. The shorter the racetrack, the closer the battle. I mean, it's like the Project Car Sunday race on Sunday. That's going to be manic because that circuit is so short. I mean, on average in the Project Car Sundays, the laps have been sort of 14 to 19. On Sunday, 27.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and so that you did. So that kind of says everything you need to know about how short that track is that they're going to be racing on Sunday. Now, it might be a lot of laps and it might be a short track, but what it means is the field, even if the field gets spread out, there's always going to be cars close together. So that's going to be absolutely manic and not easy to keep up with, I reckon. But we'll see how that gets on. For now, though, we'll focus on the Project Cars Fridays, the final round of this season, round 10 here in Brno, as with the red lights turn green and away they go. Green. We'll get retired and we'll see who we can go and spectate on, if we can spectate on anyone at all. I think Dave the Harp's had a great start. James Hulkenberg's not had a particularly good one. He's down to 4th place, being stuffed around the outside a little bit. He may be able to fight back for 3rd. He can. He may even be able to fight back for 2nd. No, he's going to have to hold that position and watch out for the cars behind him as they're double wide. Are they all going to get around the corners? It's getting close, it's getting tense. I think that's Neotig going a little bit slow in the middle of the corner, and that's going to be so confusing with Hulkenberg, Hesselden and another car, all in yellow cars. Woolhouse it is. They're getting close to the yellow car brigade.
Hesselden and Woolhouse are having a great battle.
That they are. Joyfin's in 2nd, Hulkenberg's 3rd. Hesselden just manages to stay ahead of Woolhouse, who's now in 5th place, with Neotig in 6th, Jason in 7th, Grable and... Grable's been rolled, he's on his roof! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Someone's going to have to... Mulrine, if you can catch up with your wheel off, perhaps you could help Grable out here. If he sees him, he may be able to nudge him. We can see Grable, he's got a wheel missing. Go on, Mulrine, give him a nudge, roll him over, give him a nudge. Oh, he's not done it. Oh dear, oh dear. That's going to frustrate Grable because that's going to be his race over. But if he stays there, quite a few of these guys might not realise that his car's upside down. We may end up with an enormous crash. If you want to keep an eye on Grable, let's see what happens. While we've been looking at that, Hulkenberg has managed to get himself up to 2nd place. So there's the buffer that Dave the Harp would have wanted. Duofin now down into 3rd, Hesselden 4th, Woolhouse being attacked by Neotig into turn 1, and Neo manages to work his way through up into 5th place. They've got Jason right behind him, who had a fantastic event last Sunday in the Ginetta Juniors until nearly running out of fuel on the final lap. So he's going to be wanting to show these guys that he can do better than what he did when he was going to win the race. Go on, Ray. What can you hear? Are they approaching?
He's retired.
Oh no. See, now that will frustrate Grable. That really will frustrate Grable. I'll tell you what to do, Ray. Send him an invite into our chat party. We'll see if we can get him to join in on a bit of commentary with us.
Okay.
Now, it's not something that we'd usually do, but hey, he's practiced. He's taken part in the start of the race. We'll see what he's got to, whether he can join us on the commentary team. But at the moment, Dave the Harp leading the way from his mate James Hulkenberg. Duo Finn has fallen back into the clutches of Hesselden, so he's going to get close now for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. We'll see if Hesselden can do anything about it. He has shown that he's got pace over the last few races, but he's bringing Neotig along for the ride. Oh, and we've got Woolhouse and Jason getting really, really close. We've got action going on everywhere as Neotig gets himself up into 4th place. Oh, but he's just been spun. He's just been spun by Hesselden, who stopped and waited for him. Oh, and someone else has just clipped him. Now, Grable has joined us in the commentary box, so good evening, Grable. We've seen that you've had a bit of drama going on there, so feel free to come and join us in the commentary box without swearing. Yeah, we've not come to grill you, but we just figured, seeing as you've practiced, you've got yourself ready for this race, you're now out of it, you might as well watch the race and join us in the commentary box. So if you see anything happening, feel free to give it a shout. Jason has got himself up to 4th place with the action that's been going on with Neotig and Hesselden.
Neotig's in the pits.
Yeah, I think he may have had a bit of damage, from that collision. Perhaps a bit of suspension damage. Mulrein's just about limping to the pits. So, Grable, you were upside down. Were you hoping that Mulrein was going to knock you over back onto all 3 wheels when he came past? Well, at least with your rolling over today, it wasn't all your own fault, whereas Dave the Hart, when he rolled it last week, that was all on his own. He did that all by himself. Now, it looks like Dave and James out at the front. They're pulling away from everybody else at the moment, so they're looking fairly comfortable. With Neo and Hesselden having a bit of a crash, that's freed up Duo Finn and Jason, who's now in 4th place. But the battle we've got bubbling away is Woolhouse and Lee Elmo McElroy, new driver, currently sitting in 6th place at the moment. So how do you reckon he'll get on as a new driver against the guys that are in at the moment?
Great.
well, he's gonna finish more laps, that's for sure. I tell you what, have you actually seen Dave the Harp's crash from last week's race? I'm wrecked. Oh, Elmo.
Hesselden's got through.
Yeah, I was giggling to myself when I watched that video. But yeah, you're right, Ray. Lee has had a bit of a moment. Hesselden has now snuck through to take 6th place. Neotig's down in 8th. Mulrein is back out in the race now in 9th place. So, are they going to close up? What is that gap between Dave the Harp and his friend Hulkenberg?
5 seconds.
So about a 5.
Wait there, no. The gap says 6/10.
Well, that gap's wrong. It's probably a gap between their lap times, but I'd say the gap's probably about 4 or 5 seconds there. But those two, they're free and clear out of the front at the moment. It's all now going to come down to what their tyre wear is going to be like throughout this race. Oh, Hesselden and Lee Elmo McElroy, they're getting close as Lee goes for a move up the inside. He's managed to get ahead, but is he going to be able to keep it ahead? He does. He's now got another yellow car ahead of him. So, Grable, any inside information about these cars around this track? How's the tyre wear? How's the fuel? Well, you're right with
Grapple.
the... Go on, right?
Can I ask you to check to make sure that you've got share in your party settings, because we've got comments that can't hear you.
Ah, yes. Check your party settings so that your microphone's allowed to be shared. While
And then
I
we'll
will
ask you that question again.
I tell you what, though, we've got Woolhouse under a lot of attacking from Lee Elmo, and he's bringing Hesselden along for the party as well. And what Grable was saying there was he hasn't been able to do a lot of setup work around this track. He's not had the time, but tyre wear could be an issue around this track, with the front left tyre taking a beating, basically. And he's correct. The nature of turn 1 is a corner that is going to punish that front left tyre. And I tell you what, Lee Elmo made a lovely move to take the position, and Hesselden is following him through. So in the space of 2 corners, Woolhouse has gone from 5th down to 7th place. So Lee's showing that he may be new into the Project Cars Fridays League, but he's got a bit of something about him. And the question is, can he now catch up Jason? So Jason is into the pits. So Jason's going to be the first. Is he the first to start? No.
Tyres.
Yep, tyres. Hulkenberg was actually the first to pit. I apologise. He's come out in 3rd place still. So Jason is in the pits, as Grable says, 4 tyres. Woolhouse is also coming into the pits. So yeah, I mean, we're 5 laps into the race, and the tyres are taking a bit of a beating, as you rightly said, Grable. I mean, here's a question for you as well. How do you approach the race regarding fuel? Do you start the race with enough fuel to get to the end, or do you top it up as you go through?
To be honest with you, I know that track quite well, but that's what I say. I was not prepared. Doesn't matter. Happen what happened. Basically, I just fuel up in the fuel. The reason I was more than sure I will need to stop maybe 2-3 times, even maybe 4. If I would need to fuel up each time, I would be losing the time, against the other drivers. I was more concentrated to keep the tires, warm, and look after them to the end of the race. I could see a little drop to the back in the race and just try to, climbing back step by step, but that didn't work out. But I think,
it definitely did. Well, you looked after your tyres. They're not going to get anywhere when none of them are touching the tarmac. But your camera, that probably doesn't work anymore. I mean, it's interesting what you say, though. I mean, I'd probably do the same. Start the race with enough fuel to get to the end, because then all you need to do is stop for tyres. And if you can go quite long on your tyres, but you haven't got enough fuel in the car, then your benefit of the better tyre wear goes out the window. Whereas if you've got the fuel in, you can go until you need to change the tyres. I tell you what, we've got a nice little battle of getting ready to bubble up now. 4th place and 5th place, with Lee Elmo McElroy being caught a little bit by Hesselden. Oh, and Elmo is into the pits. Now, here's something to think about. You may want to keep an eye on Hesselden, because in last week's Project Cars Sundays race, he tried getting into the pits and spun it twice. So he may have the same problem here. So you might want to keep an eye on him, as we're definitely into a bit of a pit stop window now. But Duofin currently sitting in 2nd place, going long on his tyres, and we know from our F1 racers he can go long. But Hulkenberg's pitted and he's right behind him. So Hulkenberg's fresher tyres are benefiting him hugely at the moment. Hesselden now up to 4th place. And Jason comfortably sitting in pits 5th. He has pitted, which surprised me a bit, because he's usually very good on his tyres as well. But maybe he's topped up his fuel a little bit.
Dave's in the pits. Dave the Harp's in the pits.
So race leader in the pits then. So he's done 6 laps on his tyres, yeah. Now, is Duofin going to follow him in from 2nd place? He'll see that he's being caught hand over fist by Hulkenberg in 3rd place at the moment. Now, will James have been able to benefit on the leader Dave at all? That is something we'll have to keep a quick eye on. Is Duo going for the pits? No, he's not. They're going to keep going, and Dave the Harp is already out and into turn 1 with a lapped car right behind him. As Duofin and Hulkenberg now come into turn 1, and Hulkenberg going around the outside. What a move! All the way around, a long way around the outside of turn 1. That's a benefit of the grip of the tyres there. He's going to be boasting about that one on Sunday, I can tell you now. Looks like Mulrein's just getting out of the way for these guys, which is nice to see. And Hesselden has made it into the pits, and Jason's going to gain a place on him. Oh, Woolhouse and Neotig, they're right on each other. Here's another question for you, Grable. Obviously, you've raced in on Project Cars quite a bit. You've taken part in our Project Cars Fridays season. Would you be looking forward to getting rid of these open wheel cars and going to the LMP2s where chances of losing a wheel reduce?
Dave, that's a very good question. You know, open wheel always is an open wheel. It depends how we drive, how we are concentrated, how we have a respect to driver in front of us. I don't mean the driver behind. You know, I just mean to keep the distance. It's the fair play. Of course, you know, but from my point of view, we are not looking for a contact to, you know, bashing to each other or touching to each other. We're looking for a clean race. From my point of view, it doesn't matter what we race. It's the way how we race and how we put our effort to make sure the race is clean for everyone. But that's just my own opinion. I don't know. That's all.
So it's a good opinion. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it shouldn't matter what cars are being driven, the racing should always be good. But, I mean, going to something like the LMP2s, it does just give that a little bit of a safety factor. Where if a collision does happen, or you happen to spin it and you're going off, if you hit the barrier, there's less chance of losing a wheel. So, I mean, if we continued on in these Formula Bs, we'd see wheels being lost less and less. But I think in the LMP2s, it'll help our Friday racers be able to have that slightly closer racing, because there won't be that fear of losing a wheel, but hopefully it won't come with, I'm not going to lose a wheel, so I'm going to get my dive bombs out. So, I tell you what, keep an eye on the leaders, because James Hulkenberg, he's showing Dave the Harp that he's got speed around this track. Now, you mentioned earlier...
this buffer hasn't come into play for him.
Well, I was going to say this. You mentioned that perhaps Dave's asked James to come along and be his buffer, but if James goes and wins the race, that he's on the wrong side of the buffer there. Well, Hulkenberg's definitely on fire at the moment. I wonder if he's on the microphone. I'm catching you. In his Terminator voice.
Andy,
In the
harp, I'm catching you.
That's a good one.
Every time he pits, that's when he'll be going, I'll be back. What's more?
Off.
Is he off?
Yeah, he's gone.
He is. I think Mulrein is out of the event. He is. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So it's all gone wrong for Mulrein. But Lee Elmo is in the pits now for a tyre change and possibly a top up on the fuel. Hesselden, he pitted recently, has come out in at 7th place. I don't think he's that far behind Woolhouse. The field now getting a little bit spread out, but could close up again as they get their later pit stops done. So it does look like the battle for first is the one that we may want to be keeping our eyes on, while we also have a look to see if anybody happens to crash off anywhere else. Okay, I'm going to fire another question to Grable. If you had the opportunity to pick a racetrack to race on in the next season, which track would you pick?
That's okay. We are talking about the Fridays, or of course Fridays.
On the Fridays, yeah.
Tell you what, I love to see the Catalonia GP as well. I love to see the Hockenheim GP. It's a great track for that cars. I think the Monza is a very popular track for every driver for start the season. Spa, I don't know. I'll be looking for maybe some, open ride with straight lines and a lot of corners, like let's say Catalonia. Hockenheim, Silverstone, of course. I think the Silverstone is a great track, to race with.
Hulkenberg's in the pits.
Yeah, I mean, it's my own preference. It doesn't mean anything to the other drivers, but I think that the LPN2 is a great car. If you get your setup right and you feel the car, it will be absolutely fun. I can feel that. will be different. You are right with, contact or losing the wheels. It's a quite tough car to drive as well. It's not like Formula B, bam, lose the wheel. Like that. I agree with that 100%, but I hope as a, people who run the league, you choose some wisely and make us happy and make us feel little that thrill in our back, sweaty. I want to feel more sweaty.
Oh really? Oh really?
Sorry,
I'm sure.
Got in Heselden and
Woolhouse
are having a wee battle going on.
Okay, well now we've got the camera on those, I'm sure Ray is going to be able to help you get a little sweaty. So come on, Ray, how would you get Grable sweaty?
To be honest with you, I know I don't. Okay, sorry, Ray.
Oh, no! Woolhouse has lost it on the way into the pits. Oh, he's tried for a second time. Three times he's in. That's the front wing gone. Thankfully, he's lost it on the way into the pits. They'll hopefully be able to get that repaired. Neotig is also in the pits, so we're definitely into the next round of pit stop windows. Hulkenberg's gone for an early-ish stop again, but David Harp's continuing on. Just put in the fastest lap of a 37.5 as well. Duo Finn also pitted at the same time as Hulkenberg. And Jason is now up to third place, but Duo Finn is not far behind him at all. But yeah, I was going to say, Kev did show that at Oschersleben, he was actually better with no front wing, which was a little bit surprising. Maybe we'd set it up on that one. No, damage would have been on. I don't think, I can't remember if there's a visual only setting, but there we go. Neotig's in 6th place, but the car ahead of him is out of position, I think. That's Dave the Harp. So Dave the Harp has lapped Neotig by the looks of things. Yes, he has. So Dave and Hulkenberg have been absolutely on the pace here in this race. Jason, he's into the pits. So as Duo Finn was catching him up, he's decided to go for a pit stop. And if we do, actually, here's a thought. For any of the viewers, make some suggestions of what tracks you think would be a good track to see the LMP2s raced around in the next PCF season. I've got a few ideas of where I think they'd be good and a few ideas where I think they wouldn't be good. If you want sweaty, Nordschleifer, that'd definitely make you sweaty, but I don't think, as I was saying to Ray, I don't think it'd really give the spectacle of a race, because as I was saying, sometimes the shorter the track, the closer the action, whereas if you've got a long track like the Nordschleifer, as soon as the field gets spread out, that's it, you've got no action other than who's going to be into the barrier. Oh, Duo Finn, he's spun it. I've just gone on board with him and he's just lost it around one of the right hand corners heading down the hill. I think that might be turn 7. I could be wrong. No, it is, it's turn 7. Oh, we've got a yellow car with no wheel. Who's that? It's not Heselden, it's not Hulkenberg, it's Woolhouse.
Woolhouse.
Oh dear. Now, Grable, you've driven these cars without a front wheel on, I think. What's it like when you lose that wheel and you've got a long way to go to get to the pits?
Just you need to take your time.
Well, it's one of those where you've got so much time, you could probably put the kettle on, have a smoke.
Dave, back to the track. I think also the LT maybe Wheel Spring will be a very good track for that. It's always a track when just a few corners, but you still keep the speed. The Red Bull Ring is Willow Springs. Willow Springs. Yeah, that would be an interesting track. I'm not a big fan of Willow Springs.
Is that the one?
Yeah, but
yes.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the case. A lot of drivers is fan of that track because you keep them still almost full speed. You're going up to the hill, you're going right, you're going left in the street, and you need to keep the full speed.
David Hart's trying to overtake somebody and they're not backing down.
I know, Dave the Hart's trying to get past Jason, and Jason's like, no, you want to get past me, you're going to have to work for it. No, Dave's into the pits. So Dave's making his stop. I kind of agree with what he's saying there. Willow Springs, it's not a track that a lot of people are going to race on. It's not an easy track. But it is a track that the LMP2s would probably, if you get your setup right, they're going to be good around there. that could be quite fun. I mean, the LMP2s, they do have a lot of grip, and they are surprisingly very fast as well. And obviously there is, I think there's 3 or 4 different versions of them. So you've got tin top LMP2s, but you've also got open top. Oh, you're right there, Ray. Hulkenberg, he's gone and taken the lead, and I think Hulkenberg may have 1 or 2 more stops to do. He's been earlier in the pits on each occasion. Dave, I think, definitely only 1 stop left. Hulkenberg needs to try and stretch out a stint of tyres here. Dave's still got fastest lap, so Hulkenberg may find himself coming under a bit of pressure soon. Duofin in 3rd place. He's got a nice healthy gap to 4th place at the moment. And Jason in 5th, and he's got a car all over him, and that's Neotig. This is for position. So Jason having pitted, no, Jason didn't pit, Dave pitted. So this is a battle for position. So can Neotig do anything about it? Oh, he's not been able to make the move. Perhaps he's waiting for the straight line speed. But this is a track where in the Ginetta Juniors, Jason had his car set up beautifully for good speed out of the exeter corners. So I mean, he was Dave the Harp couldn't overtake him. He struggled to overtake him. Oh, Neo, he's having a look up the inside and backs out of it. So Jason's going to keep hold of that position for one more time across the line.
Anthony White, Sonoma Raceway GP.
Sonoma. Possibly.
Scottish.
Yeah. Sonoma, I think if I remember rightly, that's basically the Japanese version of Suzuka. Sorry, Project Cars' version of Suzuka. No, that's Sakito, isn't it? Sonoma, that's America.
Sorry, I stopped you. Neo just actually passed Jason.
He has. It was a nice little move there. Needs to try and pull away now if he can.
And Le Mans it's a good track, and that's from Chris Corr.
Yeah, I mean, Le Mans, I love Le Mans. I actually topped quite a few of the time trial leaderboards at Le Mans for a while, especially in the bit of name drop in there, especially in the touring car class. I was about 3 seconds ahead of anybody else, and then they reset all the timing screens, and I haven't really driven on project cars since. I haven't driven on project cars for a long time, since before this season started, so you're looking at 10-11 weeks at least. But yeah, I do like Le Mans. I do like it as a racetrack, and the LMP2s would be good around there. But again, I would perhaps worry a little bit that is a track where the field can get spread very quickly, and you can end up with quite a bit of lonely racing. But at the same time, it is a great racetrack. So in a Le Mans Prototype 2, it probably would be right to race at Le Mans.
Dave the Harp's catching James Hulkenberg.
He is. He's right over his rear end. So this is where Hulkenberg's now going to be giving it, no, don't do it. I can't do Hulkenberg's impressions. Impressions are just not my thing. Oh, Dave's having a look up the inside. James giving him the room and backed out of it. So Dave through then to take the lead. You thinking that's a bit of team order?
Driver.
Yeah, Hulkenberg wiggling there. I tell you what, I don't think he's going to make this easy for Dave. I think he's got the speed in the corners over Dave, you know.
Dave, come on.
But it looks like the Harper's managed to pull himself a little bit of a gap there. Duofin is definitely having quite a lonely race in 3rd place. Neotig now up to 4th, has pulled away from Jason in 5th. Hesselden in 6th, and sounds like he's got a car not far behind him. Lee is back into the pits again. It's Woolhouse that's not far behind Hesselden, but he's a lap down, and he's got Dave the Harp catching him up. So we've got a few cars close to each other on track, but they're kind of all out of position. So if we go on board with Dave the Harp, we'll hopefully see him catching Woolhouse there, and Hesselden in the foreground. Here's a question for the both of you, actually. I mean, obviously, we're racers. We've raced F1, we've raced on project cars. And we've all at some point either been on the receiving end or been on the benefiting end of blue flags. Now, I'm a bit old school in that I understand the reason for blue flags, but I remember watching the days of like Senna, Prost, where blue flags were non-existent. And what that would cause is, yes, you may have a leader out in front by 10 seconds, but if he catches up traffic that does not have to get out of the way, he could lose his lead. He could lose the gap. Now, I kind of like that. If you want to get past, you've got to overtake. But obviously, with the blue flags now, it's a case of the lead, someone's behind you, get out the way. So what's your thoughts on it? Are blue flags a good idea? Should they stay? It's the right thing to do? Or would you be interested in seeing that situation of blue flags don't exist?
Dave, my answer would be very simple. If the blue flag and project cars would be working well, but it didn't work well, if you know what I mean. Sometimes it's quite ghostly or over the pace in the time. At the moment, I think it doesn't make any big difference because in the project cars blue flag didn't work the way how it should work. That's my own opinion, you know. And you can pass the car who is on the pit, or someone can be just passing in the other corner on the other side of the track. I'm going to show you, let the faster car let through because the blue flag. At the moment, I think the blue flag doesn't make any difference on that game. That's my own opinion.
So what about real F1 then? Let's take F1 from this season, where the Mercedes are dominant. They destroy everybody. If there was no blue flags, then at least you'd get some action with them having to overtake back markers.
Yeah, but that's the case. I think the blue flag for them, and just a normal river racing, they are fast. Why they need to stay behind, you know, slow driver or the driver who try to keep up? Just let them pass through. I think that's the point. When today and the today racing, and the amount of, you know, speed on that points or the formulas B or A or C, it's a good thing if that's worked well. That's what I try to. That's what I try to say. Pointed. If that's going to do, you know, a favor to the race leader, why not?
Okay, go on then, Ray. What's your view on it?
I would say if I'm not in a race for position, then I'd let you pass. But if I'm in a race for position, then you make your own way past.
Interesting. Now, something I do know that people have done in our F1 season, for example, is use blue flags to their advantage. I know from a Racing GP, he's done this.
Yes.
Where what he's done is he's had a leader catch. He had Kev catching him up, right? So he lets Kev past, and he's like, right, I'm going to stick right behind him, and he follows him closely. So when Kev then catches the next car that gets a blue flag, they back out. Kev goes past, but so does Steve, and that overtake is for position. So I like that. That's clever driving, that is. Oh, we're into pit stop window. Dave the Harp and Jason into the pits again. I think Hulkenberg had already pitted, you know, and we'd perhaps missed it because he wasn't very close to Dave the Harp, and he's just coming up to the final couple of corners now. Dave's car's now stationary in the pits, and so is Jason's. So final pit stop window is in play as Hulkenberg now comes around the final corner. Is he going to get past him? Oh, I don't know, it's going to be close. Hulkenberg crosses the line. Dave's leaving the pits and he's got a car ahead of him. Dave just manages to stay ahead, but his tyres are going to be cold. Hulkenberg's are going to be quick, and Dave has got a car ahead of him. That's going to be Lee Elmo McElroy, who's out of the way for Dave the Harp. He's out of the way for James Hulkenberg, and Hulkenberg's all over the back of Dave now. He needs to pounce on him at this point while Dave's tyres are cold. Come on, Hulkenberg, show us what you've got. Force him into rolling his car off. Yeah, don't be a buffer. Don't. He's going for it. He's looked up the inside. He's contact. Oh, Hulkenberg. He went for it. He went for it. He knows that we're going to be talking about him now. He's let Dave have the position. Oh, maybe, but he's still got a chance to attack. Here's one for you. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. Right, I'm going to have to get Hulkenberg to see if he could do Robocop, actually. And I tell you what, I am looking forward to Robocop 2, the new Robocop versions. I'm old enough.
No.
Oh, that's I think that's Woolhouse, a back marker that's in the gravel there. Yes, it was. So he's kind of getting out of the way. I think we've got Neotig in the pits as Dave and James continue on. They've now got 7 laps to go. Come on, James, give us an epic end to the race. Or wipe Dave out. Either will be fine. Either will be fun to watch.
Do not be his batty boy.
No, do not be his yes man. Definitely not. The thing is, for me, though, I mean, Hulkenberg's showing in this race... I mean, when he started off in the PCF League, he struggled a little bit. And I think it was down to practice, having the time to practice. So we can tell that his missus is in Australia for 6 months because he's obviously had time to practice. I'm surprised his right arm's got enough energy in it, though, to turn the steering wheel. But he's showing that he's got the pace in these cars that had he been able to race for the whole season, he could have been up there fighting potentially for the title, because he's been keeping Dave honest in this race. Okay, Duo Finn is into the pits. Hesselden is in 4th place. I've got a feeling he's going to be making a pit stop soon. Go on, Ray. Sound like he was going to say something.
No, I was just going to say Hesselden's quite a far bit back.
He is. Joyfin's not on the move yet, as Hesselden is coming around the last couple of corners. He needs to be going around the final corner before Joyfin moves, but that's not going to happen. So Joyfin is going to keep 3rd place for the moment, and Dave the Harp's now pulling out a gap. Go on.
Hesselden's in the pit, sorry, and that might let Yarson get in front. Jason, sorry.
Yep, Jason Yarson will be close enough to take this position, because he's coming around the final corner already. But is he going to have to pit again? I think I saw him pitting a lap or 2 ago. I could be wrong, because we've been talking about loads of stuff since. But yeah, he could be close enough. He's taken 4th place.
Neotig is quite close.
Oh, Neo and Hesselden then, yep. So Neotig, I mentioned he was in the pits the lap before, so he's managed to get out ahead of Hesselden, so we could end up with a battle for 5th and 6th in the near future. And, well, actually 4th, 5th and 6th, because that gap between 4th, 5th and 6th is not very big at all. Interesting. So 6 laps to go. Anything can happen, and by the sound of what Ray's just done...
Stopped on the track.
Sorry,
somebody's hit something.
Leo McElroy into the barrier. He's left a wheel there as well. It's a front wheel as Jason comes past him. So Lee's got a long way to go to get to the pits to get a new tyre put onto a rim and onto the car. Woolhouse is going again. Maybe he's heard about Lee losing a wheel and he's got a chance of gaining a place. I mean, it is good to see that in this race we've seen less wheels lost in this race than we have in all of the previous races. Although that depends. Woolhouse lost his early on. There was some guy called what's his name? Gravel. He ended up upside down with only 3 wheels on his wagon. So he's lost a wheel. So I think we're on to about 3-4 wheels lost in this race. But we're also on.
James is in the pits again. He never stuck to the pit lane entry.
Well, you don't really have to with these, but we're about to. If he's in the pits, is he going to lose a position? Because Jason in 4th and Neotig in 5th, they're heading up to the first corner. No, they were a lap ahead. Neotig up the inside into turn 1. Oh, that's a beautiful move. He's kind of stuffed Jason out wide there without actually touching him. That's going to have made Jason's tyres a little bit dirty. But so, what do you think of that move then, Grable?
That was awesome, man. That's good. That way.
That was a nice move. And I tell you what, Hesselden's not really catching up with these guys. He may catch Jason, but Neotig, he's pulling away from Jason already. So a bit of free air. Can he catch Duofin? I think the gap may be too big. So let's see, where's Hulkenberg? Hulkenberg just starting halfway through sector 1, and Duofin is a long way back, so the front two look fairly safe at the moment unless they happen to lose a wheel. Neotig in 4th, there is a big gap between 3rd and 4th, and Jason's dropping off from Neotig fairly quickly, and Hesselden is catching him, and there is a big gap. Go on.
Do you think Dave the Hart needs to pit again? He's going in. He's in.
Interesting. I was going to say I didn't think he needed to, but perhaps he's doing it for safety, or perhaps he does need to.
Guys, what is the 3rd stop now for Dave? I think, yeah.
The 3rd stop, yeah. So you were right with what you were saying early on, that the tyre wear around this track is very aggressive. As you say, that front left tyre does take a lot of punishment. And also for Dave the Hart, in the PCS race last week, he was out in the lead, he was comfortable, he was taking it easy and rolled the car. So perhaps this is one of the sort of Mercedes style safety pit stops. He's got the gap, bolt on a set of new tyres, then he knows he's got no problems whatsoever with his tyres into the last few laps. And the gap he's got on Hulkenberg has grown quite a lot through that pit stop. So Hulkenberg has got his lap time down into the 37s, but Dave's got his down to a 37.2. Got a bit of traffic ahead of him again, and I think that's Jason. It is. So Dave came out the pits in the middle of the battle between 4th, 5th and 6th. So he's kind of going to want... Oh, yeah, Jason's out of the way. Oh, I've heard the noise of car v wall.
Oh, there's wheels on the track.
I think that might be Neotig who clipped the tyres, the white tyres. I saw them rolling in the distance as Dave the Hart went past Jason. So I think Neotig may have got away with that one because everybody else is circulating. Lee Elmo in the pits, he's managed to get back to having 4 wheels on his car, which is good to see. So it looks like the next battle we may have is Hesselden and Jason, and Hesselden is now catching Jason quick because Jason's had to get out of it to let Dave through. So guys, I've been asking you 2 questions throughout this race. Any questions you've got for me?
How do you drive these cars on this track?
I was trying to think of a funny answer to that one. With a steering wheel. It's been a while since I have driven around, like I say, on project cars. How I would drive these cars around this track is aggressively. Well, when I say aggressively, smoothly aggressive. Turn 1, for example, that's a corner where the temptation is to lift off and sort of cruise it round the corner. It's not how you want to do it. Get it turned in and floor it. Steer it with the rear.
I do it differently. I try and coast it through the corner and then get on the power.
I have just a question for you. What about the new season? You think about change like, I don't know, ABS off, traction control off, or are you going to stick with the same rules what's in the moment? From my point of view...
Go on.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what I'm going.
For example, I guess to driver, who have ABS on, traction control, and everything else to can help me out. You gonna approach the corners. You're gonna brake different way than other drivers with assists on. Doesn't mean the race will be not really even to keep up. Doesn't mean his car will be approach the corner different way than the guy who actually doesn't use the assist to work it more with accelerate and brake. I'm just wondering how we're going to work on that. But to be honest with you, I didn't enjoy to race with any assists. I try to prefer work it more with brake, work it more with accelerate, and make that's the factor when that driver's going to feel a little sweaty. They need to concentrate more, get to the corner, to brake a little more early or too fast, and make that race very close, or just demanding more concentration.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt for a second. Oh no, I thought Jason was being overtaken for 5th place, but he wasn't.
James Hulkenberg.
So he was letting Hulkenberg through, but he's now going to be under pressure from Hesselden. They've both had to let him through, but this battle is really hotting up. But I mean, in answer to you, Grable, I kind of totally agree with what you're saying there. If you've got one driver approaching a hairpin with no ABS and a car next to him with ABS, the guy with ABS is going to be able to brake harder, brake later. So if they're side by side, they can gain an advantage. But if the car with ABS is behind, then there's a chance you could end up with a crash. It does bring in two very different ways of driving the car. One potentially with advantages and one potentially all down to what the driver can do. As for what we'll do in the Project Cars Fridays races, I'm not sure. I'll have a word with Kev and Ray. I mean, obviously we're in it's only the first season of the Project Cars Friday, so what we may find is that for the next season we'll kind of keep it as it is, but maybe in the future we'll look at perhaps knocking some stuff off. It's one of those things where to start off with we must get it going, and then we can look at what can be changed, because what we wouldn't want to do is go, right, okay, we're going to take all the assists off and then lose half of the field. Whereas, I mean, as a non-assist user, it is frustrating if you're up against guys that have got assists on. But then I always sit there and think, well, if you beat me and you've got assists on, I can always just sit there and go, well, you've got assists on, I haven't. But then, to be honest, it's not that often I get beat. So, anyway.
Dave, I will say one thing. It's a fair answer. I think between Neo. Okay. Okay. It's a fair answer. That.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand your point of view. That's fine.
I mean, obviously, ideally, we would prefer to keep it separate, assists and no assists, but we're going to hold that off on that for a moment, because Dave the Harp is only a few corners away from the final corner. So he's approaching the final two corners now on the last lap of the race, and he's got his lap time down. He's got his lap time down to a 1:36.6. That's a phenomenal lap time throughout this race. So Dave the Harp is going to take victory then here in Brno. James Hulkenberg is going to cross the line in second place. A fantastic drive from him. The buffer man, yeah. He's done his job. So he's going to cross the line in second place. I'm sure he'll be talking about that on Sunday. Duo Finn will cross the line in third place. It's showing him fourth there, but that's because the car that's ahead of him on track is a lap down. So for Duo Finn returning to the track, third place, not a bad result at all, but I'm sure he will feel that he would have wanted to do much more. He's got quite a long way to get to the finish line though, so I mean, I'll go back to the assist, no assist. In an ideal world, yeah, we'd have assists off and assists on. But at the moment, obviously, the Project Cars Fridays is a completely separate, different style event to the Project Cars Sundays. Sundays is slower cars, it's sort of fast cars, slow cars is the way we're looking at it at the moment. If we bring in sort of the no assist too soon, what we could end up with is assists off and assists on for like Project Cars Fridays, so to speak, which is a situation that it needs more people to run it, a day for it to be broadcast, and all that kind of thing. So it's something that probably will happen in the future, knocking some assists off, but as and when, it can't be certain. But Duo Finn then coming around the final corner for the final time, he will take third place, as it confirms as he crosses the line. And Neo Tig is riding in fourth at the moment. He's done well to fight his way back through the field, compared to other races recently where it started great and gone terrible. This one started not so great and got better throughout, I think. So for him, it will be fourth place, so a good result for him. And Jason in fifth, I think he'll be fairly pleased with that. Hesselden, no, is he going to be fifth? I'm not sure. I think Hesselden may finish ahead of him. I think he may have done.
As if Hesselden overtook him somewhere, but I don't know where.
Well, we'll have to wait until the final timing screen to confirm it, because it does get confused. The game gets confused with itself when cars are out of position, because it says like cars are ahead when they're not. So we will have to check that at the end. So how do you reckon Lee Elmo McElroy's got on for his first race?
From what I watched, he was quite good.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
Quite a good contender, I would think.
Yeah, he was doing well. I mean, okay, he lost a wheel, but anyone can do that.
Just ask Kev.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you look at Kev at Silverstone. I mean, in qualifying, he rolled it, lost a wheel, hit the barriers, and somehow went on to win the race. So, I mean, anyone can lose a wheel in these cars. I mean, I do think a few of the drivers... I mean, these cars are fun to drive. I actually prefer these cars to the Formula A's. I find the Formula B's just a little bit more friendly to drive. But I do think a few of these drivers are going to enjoy going to, for example, the LMP2s. I mean, myself and Kev, we did discuss about whether it should be LMP1s, LMP2s. Oh, how they completely didn't wipe out the tyres then, I don't know. But yeah, we discussed LMP1s, LMP2s, and in the end it was decided the LMP2s. But the LMP1s is a possibility for future seasons. Because obviously we're only doing 10 race seasons, so at the end of the 10 races, we can change the cars. Now, we did also... Sorry, go on, Ray.
I say awesome.
Oh, it was you. Okay, yeah. I think it's awesome. I mean, I had one of my friends say to me the other day, you should open it up to, like, 3 or 4 different types of cars. And it's like, well, kind of, yes, but let's take the touring cars, for example. If we put it on the touring car class and you could use any of them, then for the first couple of races you may have a different selection of cars, but it won't take that long for everyone to go, well, hang on a minute, that one's the fastest, I'm going to use that, and everyone will do that, so everyone will end up in the same car. So you may as well just go, right, everybody in the Sierra Cosworth or everybody in the BMW. So you may as well on occasion pick a specific car, whereas for the LMP2s, for example, I don't think there's really a lot of difference between them. So that will be open to all of the LMP2s for the drivers to use. It's not going to be, right, this LMP2 car. But anyway, that's it. The race is over. We can see the final order there. It was David Harp, Hulkenberg, Duofin, Neotig, Jason... Hesselden's missing off my list here. Woolhouse, Elmo and Grable managed to get half a lap in, nearly as many as myself and Ray. At least you got through Sector 1. Well, that's it. That brings us to the end of the PCF Project Cars Fridays League. It's the end of round 10. So Dave the Harp, we've taken victory here. He's going to bump his points up to... 128, 133. So he's going to end up 4 points behind Kev 187, who didn't even need to race to beat him. Oh well. Okay, any final sort of thoughts from you there, Ray?
Why bring Buffer Boy in? Come on.
Job, that's why. That's what Hulkenberg did do very, very well there. Right, okay, Grable. Unlucky in how...
I'm not disputing that.
No, true.
That was a dirty tactic.
Well, we'll see. I'll ask him about it on Sunday for you. Okay, Grable, unfortunate how your race went there, but thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box. It's been very interesting having your views there. Ray, thank you once again for joining us on commentary for the Project Cars Fridays. And also, thank you very much to all of the viewers. Thank you to the drivers. Obviously, it's down to them to race, to take part, to enjoy themselves on the track. But the viewers, thank you very much for taking the time to sit there and watch our racing. Okay, I've been Front Row Racing DP.
Thank you.
Thank who? Thank me? No need to thank me.
Yeah.
I'm just a robot.
You do most of the talking.
It's so that nobody else can. I swear to God. Maybe I need a man dummy. someone. I need an assistant to sit there and shove it in my mouth every time I need to shut up. Okay,
that sounds wrong.
It does, doesn't it? Actually, okay. Would you? On that note, I think we'll try and have a short, long goodbye. I've been from Road Racing DP. Thank you very much for watching. The PCF League will be back soon, probably the first week of January. Next up on the YouTube channel will be Sunday, the PCS League round 10, the final round of that season, where our one and only Ray Ironside will be trying to beat Dave the Harp for the final time. So thank you very much for watching. We've been from Road Racing, and we'll see you all again soon.